a Jay Jeazy joint.
Back like we never left. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, scholars, welcome to the third episode of School Snorter. And I am your principal host, man, Jay Jeazy. And I make this podcasting thing, man, look so easy. Damn, what's coming up on the show? Damn, a very crazy week. Stogie T went on the radar freestyle. A-Reece dropped his tape and broke the net. Nasty C followed up with his tape because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, finally Nasty C is free! Shout out, man! Come on, a lot to unpack on this show, so let me get this shit off my chest like breast reduction. But first, the headlines. The Constitutional Court rules that husbands can now take their wives' surnames. If you had the opportunity to take your wife's surname, would you? Because you are taking in her culture, you're taking in her custom, you're taking in everything that she believes in. Because as Africans, we take pride in our identity. And some feminists came through and they say, no, you are actually butchering our rights as women, you know. Let us also as women have the opportunity to have the right to, you know, own a surname and take it further. People were like quick to say like, no. Before you focus on you as women taking ownership and the leadership position, but think about all the illegal immigrants who are going to see this as an opportunity to marry our desperate sisters. And I say desperate intentionally. Why am I saying desperate? Because we are faced with a crazy number of unemployment in South Africa as it is. So I am recording this coming to you straight out of Sata. So basically in South Africa, we have an influx of illegal immigrants from the SADC region, to be specific. We have an influx of immigrants and we have a high number of unemployed people, specifically young people. So you know as a human being that if you are unemployed, basically you are vulnerable to whatever can be brought to you. You'll be like, you always have a choice. Yeah, you say you always have a choice because you are saying that from the comfort of your bed. You sitting on that couch or on that chair like, but you have a choice, you can do better. Yeah, you can do better. But somebody who's desperate, somebody who needs to put a meal on the table, they'll do whatever it takes to take care of their kids. If you marry into a female household and you take their name, then you must do the dishes. There's no double standards because of you must go all the way in. Because first and foremost, if you are a male and you're going to take the same name, you must be willing to go the extra mile. Let me bring this closer to me. This is like sharp, Jay Jeazy. We have one beautiful Patricia. We're going to say Patricia, yeah, because of one Patricia. I'm going to say we have one beautiful Patricia Motsepe. She is the granddaughter of the Honorable Mr. Motsepe, you know. And they are basically saying that she loves you and she wants to marry you, but then she is inheriting all this wealth and she's a Motsepe. You can keep your name and keep your pride, but then you have a Motsepe here, so what do you then do? Boys and girls, welcome to it. This is Jay Jeazy Motsepe pulling to you straight because I am definitely taking the same name, bro. Because if our ancestors, if my ancestors to be specific, they're like, you take that same name, you're a seller. I'm like, I'll have enough money to like just keep on stationing on my ancestors and be able to tell them like, yo, bro, if you want cows, I got you. If you want goats, I got you. If you want sheep, I got you. The same name carries so much because of it's your lineage there, you know, post apartheid, in the new dawn of democracy, we need to be away with Western, not only Western ideologies, but Western constitution, and we need to adopt ideologies that resonate with us as South Africans. I think the Concord needs to really think this. Crazy times we're living in, I cool. Moving right along, I came across this story on Facebook, and while I'm scrolling down my Facebook, I bumped into an individual that I regard as a scholar, somebody who is within the culture, somebody who's bent their back for the culture. Bumped into Sea Life. I'm like, Sea Life. It's an honor to be bumping into Sea Life. If I've bumped into Sea Life live, if I've seen Sea Life live, I'd be like, yo, I swear on my life, as my name Botelo, you are one of the people that made me fall into the culture even deep. He posted something, very interesting on Facebook. Sea Life said, in my effort to uplift the community, I am looking for an upcoming band or a DJ from a disadvantaged background and not well known to perform their repertoire of songs for a mixed corporate audience. 4 or 5 December in the JHB region. Sadly, no hip-hop artists. Sadly, no hip-hop artists. I got to know Sea Life. I got to know Ifani because of Sea Life. The opportunity Sea Life gave to Ifani, the same opportunity that afforded me to know Ifani. So if I know Sea Life as a hip-hop cat and you're going to bro, you're like, bro, so if he's not doing it for hip-hop, then he shouldn't be doing it at all. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that I know Sea Life as a hip-hop cat. I know Sea Life as somebody that represents the culture. So now if you're going to give an opportunity, of which there's nothing wrong. I just said that there's thousands, of people that are unemployed graduates, unemployed youth. So we have a crazy number of people that are unemployed. So shout out, open up the industry, give up opportunity to people who deserve them. But then if you're gonna pull up as Sea Life, the hip hop power nights, the hip hop pioneer, and you say, I'm opening up the industry and I'm giving the opportunity to people who need this opportunity, but sadly, no hip hop acts. Nah, bro. What do you mean no hip hop acts? If you're going to open up the industry and say no hip hop acts, then cool. Don't post at Sea Life. No. Go as Clive. Clive is corporate. Sea Life, that's hip hop. That's the culture. Because imagine Sea Life is if a young up and coming kid is listening, is watching your post and say okay, cool, I want to push this hip hop thing. Somebody like Sea Life is saying no. Bro, if you want to go corporate, forget about hip hop. Because hip hop is not corporate. So you are on that seed that decides what goes in and what goes out. But you say, okay, cool. They say we want some Afro pop. We want some jazz. We want some R&B. So you're gonna get your bag, but get somebody who's not hip hop. So you turn your bag on us to get your bag. And I don't have a problem with somebody getting their bag. See, Life, we are here to get our bags. Everybody's here to get their bags. Get your bag. But then if you're gonna get your bag, rebrand. She's all kind of thing. Rebrand, bro. Go as Clive. Because hip hop has that notion okay, if you're older, then now you cannot pursue the culture. You cannot be hip hop because you're older. You cannot be sucking your pants. Obviously, you're a father. You cannot be sucking your pants. You're a father. But that does not mean you're not hip hop. And hip hop, it does not mean you have to suck your pants. Hip hop is love, peace, happiness, and safely having fun. and the fifth element that holds everything together, which is knowledge. The most important knowledge is knowledge of thyself. So now if C-Life is gonna pull up on some, no, I am for the culture, but then now, if you look at the culture, you will realize that no, niggas actually are nothing, because people went crazy. They're like, nah, bro. As soon as hip-hop goes under, you are the first one to desert the culture. C-Life, you are the culture vulture now. It's like, nah, let me share a little industry insight with you. Hip-hop artists are very rarely booked, in brackets, if ever, for corporate events in South Africa. The reason is simple. While the genre has a strong following, its sound and lyrical content often cater to a very specific niche audience. Corporate events, on the other hand, demands music with a much broader and more inclusive appeal. C-Life, I know you as a hip-hop kid. Like, this thing is, it's about the culture, you know, and the way I understand hip-hop and the way I inherited hip-hop and the way I follow hip-hop, I understood hip-hop as a lifestyle, as something that you cannot desert. Slikour was on hip-hop nights with Speedsta. Shout out to Speedsta. Speedsta is one of the few kids who are pushing the culture on the mainstream level. And Speedsta has something to say about the Keed situation. It's like, nah, bro. The way you handle that situation is not spot on. And Speedsta was like, nah, bro. Keed or anybody else cannot be angry at me because I am just the radio guy. And Slikour was quick to say, like, no, you are not the radio guy, you are the culture. Speedsta tried to pull some Charlemagne gods like, why are you attacking the radio guy? And Speedsta said, no, nigga, you are not the radio guy, you are the culture. And now if young kids cannot confide in people who have been in this game for years, because Speedsta, come on, bro. Speedsta's got that mayo, bro. Speedsta's been in the game for years, bro. So he is where he's at. So there's young kids who are looking up to Speedsta. They're like, yo, Speedsta. So now if young kids can't confide in OGs, then where are these young kids going to get their game from? You know what I mean? You gotta look at the culture different, because this thing is the culture. Hip-hop nights on 5FM is one of the few, if not the only mainstream platform that we have where we are literally dissecting the culture. We have an opportunity to talk about the culture, an opportunity for us to be out there with the culture. We are very niche. And hip-hop is one factor where the OGs are not giving props to the young G's. And I saw the same thing on Joe and Jada Pod, where Joe went like, yo, bro, we're coming up, OGs were not showing us love. And I told myself, I am not gonna be like my OGs. That's what we're lacking in this culture. That's what we're lacking in South African culture. I realized that we don't have the Dr. Dre's of our culture, you know. That's where your Amus and Mr. Salvain and everybody should be at, you know what I mean? So that they can, you know, control the culture, find a way, you know, gatekeep it, you know, if needs be. They're like, hey, my police is gatekeeping the culture. Yes! We need gatekeepers, bro. We need people that can gatekeep the culture so that the people can get only the quality. If we don't have gatekeepers, then everybody's gonna flood the market with their garbage. We need gatekeepers, bro. We need those people that can hold the game accountable. Somebody that can say, no, man. Instead of this rhyme, say that rhyme. Instead of this song, pick this song. Instead of this picture, post this one. People that have been in the game for long. your KOs and them. People who knows what works in the South African market, because we are in the South African market where hip-hop, it is not the dominating genre. But then we have a young following. We are on the net. We are alive. So that's where we need to exist. That's why Ricky Makalo said, F the radio, F mainstream, go to the internet. That's where everything's at. So go to the internet. Now I want to stories about the culture, people that are, hip hop, people who understand what culture is, people who inherited this hip hop thing, people who said, you know what, I am going to be the culture and I am the culture, and because of the culture, I am here. Stogie T, ladies and gentlemen, formerly known as Stumi. He said, instead of me living the culture, he said, you know what, I'm going to rebrand within the culture because of there's so many branches within the culture. When he went on as Stogie, I was on the fence with it. If I recorded this podcast, years earlier, I probably would have talked about it. But then now, because of I'm older and Stogie is older with everything that he has, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I hear you, young. I hear you, OG. Because of Stogie, I was able to tap into the new market, crazy enough. I was able to listen to the AMTs, and the Rees and the Nasties and everybody that he featured on that Honey and Pain project. Because of Stogie. And it's like, but I'll speak about Stogie in terms of why he rebranded, because of, there's no country for old men. Most of them are ghosts. I'll unpack that one day. But what did Stogie did? Stogie went on to On the Radar and he made it. When Ramaphosa and them went to the White House and to say, yo, this was happening in South Africa and this and that and the other. Do you know what we need to do? We should send the likes of Stogie. We should send the likes of Stogie because of those are the men that do country duty, Those are the patriotic South Africans. Like every time he goes on an international platform and he speaks, he represents. Oh, that man, he represents what he did on Sway in the morning. I put your certified hyenas in elephant graves. That's what he did on the radar. What does he say? Man can't live on bread alone. That's his opening bar. Man can't live on bread alone. Obviously, man can't live on bread alone, bro. But then we suffer the consequences of those in our country that we elected wrong to the throne. We're always complaining about our government. He goes there and tells them like, yo, you worried about the white genocide? It's not there. There's a real genocide happening in South Africa, black against black. But you won't report on that because it does not serve you. That Stogie for you. He went in and told you, like, I like the fact that Stogie can be able to talk about the hunger and also talk about the richness within the same line, Because of, if you look at South Africa is one of those countries, if it's not the only country in the world where the seesaw is like this. Rich people, poor people. Honey, pain. And that's Stogie T for you. From, what does he say? From the ground rose that arm that has the Rolex in it. Like, if you know that whole park scheme about, roses that grew on concrete and stuff, you can also understand like the whole storyline, like, he made something out of nothing, basically the diamonds that are owned by the white people, he was able to get them on his wrist by any means necessary, because of if you are in South Africa, It is survival of the fittest if you are trying to get to the riches, bro. Only a selected few are wealthy in this country. Only a substantial amount of people are, rich. Poor people, the majority of the country is poor, bro. One of the most unequal states in the whole world. And when we send somebody like Stogie to go over there and speak on our behalf, he does the duty. On the second verse, when he pulls up, what does he say? I'm from the meta capital, where they matter for capital. That's a Kanye West line, right? Because he's from Chicago. And Chicago is the meta capital of the world. Stogie's like, I'm from the meta capital, where they matter for capital. Everything about JHB, bro, you know this shit. If you know JHB, then you know, like, yo, bro, niggas bang on your door like tutu. Ah, not a Stogie. Stogie, what feature? Telling you, we need to give, Stogie his flowers while he's alive, because of what he did there was crazy, bro, because of, I'll jump back and forth in terms of the concept because of, Stogie is just like one of the few artists that we have, bro. Like, he's one of the few MCs, like, one of the people, like, he said, like, I can rap better than Kendrick. And everybody went crazy, like, what do you mean? And the thing is that he hasn't proved it. He hasn't proved it. Like, that nigga's raps are top tier. Like, you have to go through, like, yo, who's Mansa Musa? Like, yo, what's going on? Like, bro, like, what I like about that Freestyle, he's able to talk about the minerals, right? He's able to talk about, the diamonds, like, yo, we are living in the post-Cecil Rhodes era. If you are an American or an Australian or whoever, you like Google, like, who is Cecil Rhodes? What's going on? Oh, Cecil Rhodes is into diamonds. Oh, okay, cool. So who benefits from diamonds? Diamonds from Sierra Leone. Diamonds are forever. Like, you get to realize, like, yo, Stogie is on the money here. He's talking, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm head and shoulders with Mansa Musa. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm here. Like, yo, my mind is gold. But then literally the gold, I don't have it. The only way I can have the gold is through the Rolex, of which I've managed to get. But then if you get to realize, like, yo, the people that are owning the minerals versus the people who are mining for the minerals, the scale does not balance, because the people who own versus the people who work for those people who own, it's a crazy number. And Stogie is able to put that in a poetic way. It's like, yo, my cousin joked, said that prison is the side effect of hope. My cousin joked, said prison is the side effect of hope. As when that dice hit the floor. Because of you imagine if you're rolling the dice, when it hits the floor, you're hoping for two numbers, either a 7 or a 11. That's like hope, because of it can go either way. That's why people gamble, because of the hope they're gonna get some money, because of South Africans are living with so much hope. I hope I can get to the next, an actor, like, watching the contract, like, oh, I hope I get the next contract. I hope I get the next gig. Or a musician saying, oh, I hope I get the next hit. It's literally something like a junkie hoping they can get their next fix. That's South Africa for you. And the way he packages it and the way he sells it to everyone else and tell them, like, yo, we are in South Africa and we are going through the most where we are as it is right now. He's not sugarcoating anything. He's coming through guns blazing and he's telling it like it is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you're not going to give it up for Stogie T, I am going to give it up for the Don, man. He is Stogie the Don. Impeccable. For the mere fact that he went on that president's beat and everything that he spit is so political, because I'm out for that president to represent me. That's the hook that inspired the beat, that inspired the song. On Takeover, Jay-Z says, "You spit a hot line and made it a hot song." Because of Nas and Jigga Man were beefing. And that's a nice line. "I'm out for that president to represent me." And Jigga Man was like, "I know who I paid when I sampled the song, nigga." So already, there's a Nas who's attached to the beat. There's a Jigga Man who's attached to the beat. So now, to drop it a little further, Keed, who Stogie said I can rap better than. Keed and J-Rock, they did a song using the same beat. "Get money, being broke is a joke, homie, it ain't funny." Him and J-Rock did that. Who else did that? J. Cole. So now he came back again and went on that very same beat that J. Cole went on, Kendrick went on, J-Rock went on. It's an original from Jay-Z, coding a Nas line. And he represented. He represented! Shout out to Stogie for representing the culture at all times, and didn't he look like a master of ceremonies on that freestyle? The dress code, the background, the speeding, like, this is hip hop. This is nothing else but purely hip hop. I do it for hip hop. I do it for hip hop. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, getting on to the segment that I enjoy. It is top 5, and without wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, another chapter that has been written and been closed down. Which chapter am I talking about, ladies and gentlemen? It is, of course, the one and only Ricardo Macado, aka Ricky Rick. Yeah, buddy. This week we are tackling in Ricardo Macado's top 5 verses of all time. If you know, you know. Ricky Rick was one of those niggas that just got it on a song and just spit it fast. His philosophy was like, I just want the one album, I'm nice. So where did he shine? On verses, nigga. I feel like we need the South African version of verses. Alright, cool. From 5 to 1, I'm gonna name the top 5 verses of all time from Ricardo Macado. From me, to me, for me. Number 5. I'm gonna say number 5 top verse from Ricardo Macado is Amantombazane. You niggas sleep on Ricky Rick's verse on Amantombazane. Okay, first and foremost, Ricky Rick had to cut his verse because it's his song. He had to think about radio and all the other platforms. And he knew he had all these rappers. He's like, okay, cool. I'll cut my verse into 8 bars. What did he do? A piece of extra chum, the snow beef. Like, bro, sometimes, like, for me, maturity shows a human being that knows in some situations they are a role player. They are not the main event. You don't play the hottest song if you have the 8 o'clock p.m. set. You know people are not drawing. You know people are not turning up. So you leave those songs for the hottest DJ to play the hottest song, whether it's their song or not, but those two connect. So Ricky, he was like, okay, I'll take the back seat. This is my song, and I want niggas to shine. What did he do? He stepped back. Who thought I'd take a break and come alive like I did? Like the way it's going in. Bro. He goes in on that one and he goes in hard. Ricardo Macado, that one is the one, man. That one is the one. Oh, number four, I'm gonna say Pete. I'm gonna Pete. Pito trade plan. I trade back. Pito trade plan. I think because of where Ricky was, I think there was just after the whole motive thingy, and he moved and then teamed up with Casper, and then they started going on that whole vibe where they just had a series of songs. Sulkels and all of those songs, and they made out slides. I told you there, they are all running, they killed it. What happened to Ricky? What happened to Ricky? The same thing that happened to 50. What happened with you? I paid you your money. I thought it was true. Now niggas wanna say my name because Stogie had said, look, what happened to Ricky? What happened to Ricky? The same thing that happened to 50. What happened with you? I paid you your money. I thought it was true. Now niggas wanna say my name? Limpito was a Stella. That was a yo. And speaking about Ricky being on his vibe, Number 4, I'm gonna say Limpito. Number 3, I'm gonna say Speedsta Hangout. DJ Speedsta Hangout featuring Keed and Ricardo Macado. The very same thing, the intro. How somebody enters a verse, it says like, yo, this is the greatest verse, arguably or not the verses of all time or not, based on the first 4 bars or the first 2 bars. Yo, what Ricardo Macado does on Hangout, it's crazy. Shout out to Speedsta, he's still killing them, son. You know what I mean? Crazy enough, So what Ricardo Macado did on that one, because if you know Ricardo, if you've been following him, and if you know when this song dropped, what was happening around, what was trending and all that, so he goes in. It's like, she was riding with the whole crew, and she was like, wait, nah, I recognize you. And Ricardo was like, oh yeah, cool, and the guy's like, nah, what about you, man? Bro, you don't know the significance or the weight of that bar. Picture yourself, bro, because that's what I like to do when I'm listening to raps. I'm like, because I like to picture these people and when they're writing these lines and like what's going on in their mind at that time. You, Ricardo Macado, you, Ricky, you have the hottest song out, which is called Amantombazan, right? And you in a party, you bump into a girl, and because usually when you recognize someone, so sometimes you can just wonder, like, who is this person? I think I know this person. Like you wonder, and you're like, man, I know you from somewhere. So Ricky, like being a good guy that he is, like, okay, yeah, you know me from under Mazar. And the lady was like, nah, man. Motherfucker, you Mandelic! If you don't know Mandelic is a character that Ricky once played on Easy Buy, which was a crazy nice character. Fed into the aesthetics of, Ricky and everything. He was a music producer and he was there pushing, not hard, almost like attracting or chasing, So like, motherfucker, you Mandelic, Boys and Bucks, my crew, get it. Because if you know the time, Boys in the Bucks, the Boys in the Park, ooh. So if you know, like Boys in the Park in 2014, 15, going beyond, they were ruling the streets. So that was like one of those things, like, yo, bro, the Boys in the Park, So like, yo, you all get like to party like Brenda Fast, So that's my top 3, Joe. Like, it's on number 3, Ricky's best verses of all time, Number 2, the whole thing. We want the whole thing. First and foremost, who can show up in the daycare in Gucci slippers? You know what I mean? Who can show it? Nobody. It shows like Ricardo Macado was in his bag. He was like, yo, niggas, and he had that tattoo of the Gucci. I think my tia always like, I don't want to be my nigga, my ear 43. I don't want to end up like Jabba, my nigga Flabber. A kitchen knife to the chest before the labia. Ooh. I don't want to end up like Jabba, my nigga Flabber. Jabba We know what happened. What happened with Jabba? Flabber, a kitchen knife to the chest before the lavia. We know what happened. I don't wanna be my nigga E at 43. We know easy. So that's like 3 OGs right there. Flabber, Jabba, E. But then if you know Ricky's story, he ended up like one of the 3. You know what I mean? Crazy enough. He ended up like one of the 3. Look, in most cases, what you are running away from ultimately is what's gonna get you. And that's what happened with Ricardo McConnell. But then this verse is goated. It's goated, bro. It's one of those, you know, craziest, if not the most honest offerings from Ricardo Mercado. You know? And of course, number one obviously has to be wait. I said wait. Before I give you number 1. Honorable mentions. Star is born now. Next to see featuring Ricardo Mercado, A Star is Born. Aish. My father died in Jella Joseph's. Cause I'm trying to go to mortgage. I want to Gucci in the fourth car. Like, bro, like he's going in like it's that whole thing, like yo, like the whole Imalianing, you know, our Louis V and like, you know, like the whole Ricardo Mercado, like yo, our Louis V's overseas with the tulipies, like he was on his bag, you know what I mean? I think also that verse, Imalianing, he could have been here if he spent a little bit more, you know? And we know Ricardo Mercado came in and killed. Obviously, Ngaragata is one of those songs that we quote the most, you know. They didn't die, they multiplied. Ricardo Mercado, you know, came in and spared, you know, on Futek. Another song where you went in harder. So, number one great verse from Ricardo Mercado of all times. Number 1 great verse of all time from Ricardo Mercado obviously has to be none other than No Ordinary Being. Resin featuring Ricky Rick, No Ordinary Being. Aye! That nigga goes in from the first bar to the last bar. Mama told me I'm a star, but she had to do it. Been in the world for the love of music. Been in the game for over 100 months and I still never stopped doing music, not once. I'm feeling like Tarzan before he blew. Like if he knew Mercado what he was when he was recording this on that whole motif, you know, this is Ricky, this is him, you know, Stogie's executive producer, like that time, yo. My Pafagado got me testing my idol. I mean a league on my own. I remember the time they used to sleep on my beats, but I was in my bedroom. I couldn't sleep because of beats, MPCs, MP3s. Shout out to Keed. But Ricky goes in on some. I just spent the last 50 minutes practicing my lyrics. Cause any given minute I could be spitting to critics. So I'm just trying to get it. You see that one? If you know No Ordinary Being, ladies and gentlemen, please go and peep that verse. Yo, Ricky's on his back on that one. Yo. Damn. Interesting week, bro. Interesting week. Which gets me so super excited. Baby boy doing things. Obviously, I'm talking about A-Reece, the young king from Denville. You know, he released his EP called Business as Usual. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, say the least, ladies and gentlemen. Last year, A-Reece released Kill the King. This year he released a mixtape called Business as Usual. What Business as Usual did, it has killed the king. It was only his tape that released his tape from the #1 spot, or the most streams within, a day. Which means that A-Reece is not only running laps around himself, but he's running laps around everybody else. Because of that's a crazy flex, bro. To have over 500k streams on a single day. To have over 500k, close to 1 million streams when you are including other countries. That sounds crazy. That's something crazy, man. Shout out to Slams. Like, for that and hip hop, ways at where you have your likes of C Life saying that, like, yo, you're trying to book other genres because hip hop is not consumed by corporate. What Young Keed is doing, shout out to the Young Keed, bro. Shout out to the boy, bro. Like, he's doing amazing. So for all those who don't know, A-Reece released a tape called Business as Usual. I like the title because of there's not so much attached to the album except for the music. Because of if it's business as usual, like if you're an MC, you gotta keep feeding people music. If I'm podcasting, I gotta keep feeding the people episodes. That's the nature of the game. That's the unsigned agreement. You release, I consume. You release, I consume. Exactly how he put it. The more you cook, the more you eat. And homeboy, and he producing right now, and he cooking. The whole project is 24 minutes, all right? And a short film format is 24 minutes, which is amazing. That means business as usual is 24 minutes. Because of, if you think of A-Reece think in movie form, bro. He's got that Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan type of mindset. It's like, you niggas have been sleeping on me before the prequel. A-Reece sees life through a lens, I feel like this is one of those short films, like, yo, I'm giving you a short film because I'm such a creative genius, and then I'm gonna give you a feature later. But for now, feed on this short film and how amazing is the short film, because if you think about it, it's business as usual. It's very mafia driven. It's very gangster like if you know the Italian mobs and how they're moving, because it's on that black and white, like on the Tarantino flick, Reservoir Dogs. He's got the K's because the K's always got the D's, it's always got the goods. And it's on something like, okay, it's business as usual. There's nothing too much to it. You know what I mean? And what I like is that, like, it includes family. And in a family that, in a sense that he has Joy Jody, it has Kid Cadence, he's got bars where he's like, yo, I've got my daughter over there. Like, if you know the talent mobs and how they move, they prioritize family. And that's exactly what Baby Boy did on this project. And if you are not loyal to the family, the way they're going to deal with you, hey, it's crazy, bro, if you ask me. I'll say an expected project from A-Reece. I think it's not anything outside of the ordinary. The concept sounds like a business as usual, which is a double-edged sword because of the liberty of independence versus a stable. The importance of, like, cooking even when you're not inspired, or you self feel inspired, but the general audience might not necessarily vibe with the music. So it is that catch-22 type vibe, So, like, he released a tape last year, September. He released another tape this year, September. So within that space, you can run out of stories to tell, Proves us wrong within this tape. Does he? I think so. I do not think so as much. Because if it's going to be business as usual, I'm going to be releasing as much as possible, as fast as I possibly can. I'm going to give you leftovers from previous projects. Because when I'm creating, a lot has to do with how I'm feeling at the time. Because for me, I feel like A-Reece got his thing when he did Today's Tragedy, Tomorrow's Classic. That's where he found himself. Like, okay, cool, I can approach these beats like this. I can have this ad-libs. Because of this, like a song that he did, And I think it's Scented Candles, you know. It gave me that vibe of like, this sounds like, you know, the song that he did, though, going off, I'm going off for all the non-believers that, you know, on the bridge of the song, there's that whole X-Men, not X-Men, man. There's that whole the Matrix vibe. Your hair is changing, everything is changing. This is what we call the residual self-image. Boom, 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 boom. They're trying to blackball me, but I put the numbers on the board. Yeah. Like, you know, when you got that vibe of like slow beats, raps, you know, kush beats. And also, like, my thing is that, do you blame him to like be in his comfort zone? I saw everybody ex global and everybody going crazy, like, nigga, you can do better, this, that, and the other. But then you are surviving in a country where you see lives and then they're like, yo, bro, hip hop is not sustainable. But then A-Reece can raise his daughter within the same spectrum. So do you then blame him when he's going off and finding a niche and catering for that niche? Because also, when you're trying to cook for everybody, you start to lose yourself. That's why on that song, Solo, he says, I'm entertaining, hoping I can look myself in the mirror the same. Because it's easy to go into the game and do what the game needs as opposed to doing what you need. Right? So it's a double-edged sword. But then I think Baby Boy is coming through nicely on this one from Solo, you know. But then when I heard him on Solo, the first buy goes so much for putting my heart inside the game. I'm like, Here we're going back to the same old A-Reece complaining about, you know, same old things, you know, like, you know, I'm giving, nobody's receiving, I put niggas on, they backstab me, you know. But, you know, you realize when he says they forget it's the boy they're trying to mimic. You're like, yeah! Actually, all these kids trying to sound like Reece. And he says like, yo, what's a general to a bunch of blind soldiers? I'm like, preach, boy. So and Solo, I like that. So that's probably one of my favorite songs, Solo. I've seen low lives and high rollers. I'm like, yeah. You've seen the lows and highs of it. So I think he's stepping on to what he knows. Like, you know, I was under the radar until they heard the beeping noise. You know, shout out to Broski. If it was not for Broski, I wouldn't be doing this. And funny enough, on the very same joint, he has an interesting line, you know, like, and I'm thinking because of the at least sneak thing happening between him and Cass, you know what I mean? He said, never filled up stadiums, but the music is filling voids. And I'm thinking like, never filled up stadiums, I am filling up voids. Isn't this like a Mufasa? This because of Mufasa is known to fill up stadiums, like as it is right now, it's going to fill up a stadium in Bloemfontein, you know what I mean? I'm just thinking, you know, Mike sent a very dope job, you know what I mean? Scented Candles, well done, Dada. I think the song was well done, you know what I mean? That's where he has the line, my life, a movie, but you niggas, you know, slept on the prequel, you know? So it's a very, very dope joint. I think even the beat and, you know, how it's coming across and everything, you know, it's a very dope project, you know. So I think I'll give it because of its Reece and, you know, based on what he has done and what he has shown lyrically and what he can do. Because the nine track project, you know, 24 minutes, it's like, yo, bro, take a chill pill, you know. I'm gonna pull up with something, take a chill pill. So yeah, I'll give it a nice 6.5 out of 10, you know, a nice 6.5 out of 10, because, you know, from track 1, it's just the intro, it's only the piano, it's track 2, then track 3, it's the skit to the 4th song, and, you know, so yeah, I'll give it a nice, you know, 6.5 out of 10. But what I like though about this project is that right now it's at loggerheads with, you know, Nasty's project, you know. I think it's a nice moment for hip hop, you know. A-Reece is going against the slimes, of which is it's a dope thing. And even people say like A-Reece snagged Nasty's rollout plan, like the whole rollout, you know, leading up singles and everything and release date. And they say he took all his clout and released the project. And I'm like, bro, if you are an MC and you have that at your disposal and you make use of it, that means you're an intelligent motherfucker. You know, it makes you an intelligent motherfucker. So, you know, shout out to them. Shout out to hip hop, because this is a beautiful moment for hip hop where we have like 2 charting projects where they are like purely hip hop. You know, I peeped it somewhere where they say, yo, Nasty C surpassed Kabza the Small as, you know, one of few artists to come out of South Africa and, you know, to be number 1 on 8 countries. So that's amazing. It's a cool thing for hip hop, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't even take it away from hip hop. And shout out to Nasty C for finally being free. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have been streamed business as usual, I advise you to please vibe to the project. If you haven't checked out free, I'm going to check it out too. And hopefully on the next app, you know, I'll break it down, you know. So yeah, man. Shout out to SA Hip Hop. Yeah, man. Shout out to SA Hip Hop. I think he got what. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, without further ado, we are in the end of our show, which is called School's Not Out. Shout out to my grandmother once again. She had to switch off her radio so that I can record this episode. I'm gonna leave you with this, man. Good things come to those who wait, but better things come to those who chase. From me to you, Jay Jeazy, keep it locked to hip hop because you will never flop. Let's take it to the top. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Till the next time, we got